Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the Bust Creatives Present Christmas. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good morning. I am Teresa from Teresa's Silhouette Spot for all things art, where I love sharing art from my heart and teaching creatives and crafters how to paint for fun and profit. And yes, profit, because there are a lot of people that can paint, but if you have a side gig, side hustle, if you have products on Etsy, or you want to do paint parties or sell your art, you need to be able to paint efficiently. It's not just about painting and painting well. So that is what I'm about. I like to paint. I like to paint well. Of course, I want my paintings to look good, but I want to get them, done. You can't take it. I'm not a fine artist. A lot of us aren't fine artists. You can't have a painting. Oh, I have to share. Take 10 hours. So that is part of when I say painting for fun and profit. 1 second, let me share into the Bust Creatives, because I would have just been rambling on here. Share. Share to a page. Wait, it's not a page, it's a group. Share to a group. There we go. Christmas time. Okay. Thank you for your patience. Now I am ready to go. Okay, so I have a bit of carbon paper, transfer paper, graphite paper. Here we go. Look how many times this has been used, y'all. Hundreds, probably. Then I have my tracer, and I have my 11 by 14 canvas. Came off. 11 by 14 canvas and my tracer. So I put my tracer on here, I line it up, I eyeball it, I tape it down, so then it makes like a hinge. And then I will show you guys what I'm going to do, okay? Let me turn my camera around. There we go. Here we go. So I'm going to take my graphite paper and I'm just going to slip it under my tracer like that. And then just make sure it's fairly straight. And yes, it is. Okay. Then I'm going to you can get a pencil, a pen, a stylus, whatever you need to get. And I'm just going to go around and I'm going to trace the shape. You do not have to trace every line. It does not have to be exact. Some things maybe have to be exact, like maybe where the eye is and whatever. But other than that, no, you do not have to be exact with this. I'm not a machine. All my paintings will look slightly different sometimes. And that's okay. And your paintings will look different too. Your paintings will not look like my paintings. I'm having a little bit of issue over there on the wood part of the canvas when it goes up there on the wood frame, but I will fix that later with paint. Okay, now I'm just going in. I am tracing in the main parts. Okay, little eyebrow up in here, and the eye. And I think, oh wait, we have another curl down here. All right, and I think that'll, oh, can't forget the star. There we go. Okay, and I'm just gonna lift it, and you can't see, but I can see. There we go. Okay, so let's put all this aside. So when I teach my in-person classes, when I teach my online Zoom classes, when I do my art kits, either my art kits will come with a pre-traced canvas, just like you see here, ready to go. And my Zoom classes come with the tracer and that we trace it just like I did just now. Easy peasy. Okay. This was my Zoom class for, what is it, November. And I'm not doing a Zoom class for December because it is December and it's Christmas and everybody's got a mazillion gillion things going on. So I will be back in January with a Zoom class, and we will resume then. I do have a group. It's called Teresa's Spot for Step-by-Step Acrylic Art, and I do a painting in there once a month as well, and that I'll be doing anyway. Oh wait, I don't want that. There we go. So let me get out some of my blues and we will get started. All my paintings come with, like I said, the tracer. And then if it's a kit, it will come with all the paint you need and the brushes that you need. Or if it is online, it comes with a supply list. And I usually go by suggested supply list because sometimes maybe you don't want to make your painting in the same colors that I make my painting. Maybe you want to do your painting in your own colors. Maybe there's a particular palette that you love. Whatever the case may be, I call it a suggested supply list. So I dip my brush in water. I'm using, this is about a 1/2 inch, maybe a little smaller. This is a number 16 in plaid. I don't go by the numbers because numbers in paintbrushes are not universal. Okay. I'm a little bit hoarse, Amy, this morning. Thank you. I don't know if it's a cold or I think it's the dry heat. So anyway, numbers on paintbrushes are not universal. So what's a number 16 in plaid and a number 16 in Artist Loft can be completely and totally different. So I just try and set this a flat brush. You want your hair to be really nice. You don't want to have all crazy bedhead for your brush. You want a nice brush with a nice chisel edge. And in this case, this is about 1/2 inch wide. All right, so I'm going to get started. I'm going to pick up 2 blues on my brush. And I'm just going to start outlining part of my design. I'm going to do the background part first. I do not want to overblend. I am constantly picking up both blues, and in this case, I want my background design to be vertical. So I'm just going to not overblend, and I'm going to use some just downstrokes. I'm not going to be painting all willy-nilly which way. A lot of times when I do my backgrounds, I do them in this crisscross pattern. Just because I like to vary backgrounds. There are tons of different ways to do backgrounds. I like to sometimes do a background by grabbing a few stencils. I'll paint a solid background maybe, and then I'll grab a few just stencils that have like a little bit of a design to them. Not that say anything, but just, you know, have swirls or scrolls or flowers or sun, whatever it is. And I will do that in the background, all willy-nilly, and then I'll put on my painting. Sometimes I think the background is what makes the painting more than the painting itself. This is the part I messed up with the frame. So yes, I'm just going in and I'm doing vertical lines. This part is sometimes a little tedious. I like to outline the shape a little bit as I go. And if I start to get too much blending, I will pick up only the color that I'm missing. So in this case, I was getting a little too much of that gray blue. So now I'm only going to pick up this blue and have this on my brush. And then, of course, if I get to a point where I have too much blending and not enough blue or one color too many, I'll just be patient, wait for it to dry, and then I will come back in and add whatever color I think is lacking. With acrylic paint, as long as you're patient and you wait for stuff to dry, you can go back in and tweak, fix, enhance anything that you want. So this painting is called a Vintage Santa. It is a design I get from one of my memberships. And I just think it's it's a little different. And there you go. And this background does not have to be perfect. Not at all, because painting is a process and it involves steps. And we're going to, see up here I had a little bit of that, too much of that dark, the gray blue. So now I just came back in with this Prussian blue and lightened it up. Again here too, a little bit too much gray blue. And then over here, I don't have enough of that gray, so I'm adding it in. There we go. And now I'll let that simmer a little bit while I paint the rest of my painting. Okay, so there we have that. All right, wash my brush. Okay, now I'm going to get a little bit of red out, and I'm going to do his hat. I'm using a really deep red. Oops. This is a cardinal red. You could use any red you want. I like to use a little bit of a deep red. This is a cardinal red as opposed to something really bright like this apple red. I turn them upside down. You can totally see the difference, how this is much deeper and this is much brighter. But it's up to you what you use. I'm going to continue to use the same brush, but I am going to turn my project upside down so I don't stick my hand in the blue paint. A little bit of my iced coffee, and we will move on. So again, I am just outlining my shape. And then I will go in and fill it in. Now I didn't do my edges with the blue, but I'm going to show you, I'm going to start doing my edges. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do my edge with the red. Okay. You can choose to do your edges however you want. That's totally up to you. Some people leave them. Some people, I often will do a decoration on my edge. I was trying to see if I had a fancy one. I don't. Or sometimes I just like to carry the same color over the edge that is on my design on the flat. It really depends on my mood, depends on the painting. If it's a fun, whimsy painting, I will go in on the edges and I'll do like a design with dots and stripes and stuff. Otherwise, I'll just wrap it around like this. And again, right down the side to where we go with the red. Now, paintings have stages, steps, process. I have to come up with a little anecdote for that. So I tend to listen to others and grab others. Right now, it's looking a little red, white, and blue, isn't it? Cleaning up my brush. Now, as long as if your paint water is dirty, that's okay. As long as you take your brush and you give it a little bit of a squeeze and you dry it with a paper towel, even if your water is dirty, your paintbrush will be clean. I know, surprising, right? Now, I didn't really have a flesh tone. I thought I did. So I'm going to create one. It may or may not work. I used to. I'm going to have to get another one. And yes, we all know there are varying shades of flesh tone. You can have a whole palette of flesh tone colors and have more paint than you have regular paint colors. So I'm just going to mix some of this pink. I'm going to pick up some white. So now I have here some cafe latte, a little bit of pink, and then I added white to it. And I think that'll work. And I didn't need much of this anyway. Just to fill in his little face. He's mostly bearded anyway, right? Yeah, this will work for what I have to do. If maybe this was more of a bigger area, I might be a little bit more concerned about having a different color, a darker color, but this is just a small area. It is not the bulk of the design, so I am not even going to worry about it. I'm just filling in. Oh, picked up a little bit of blue there. I'm gonna fix that. So see how I have a little bit of blue there? I'm going to wait for that to dry, and then later on I will come back with my flesh tone color and fill that in. I'll paint right over it, but we have to let it dry in order to be able to paint over it and fix it. So again, I'm going to give my brush a little rinse. Let's check. Nope. Okay, and we will get back to it. Now everything left here is white. I'm going to paint right over my lines. What I could do is go in and paint my lines black first. Wait for them to dry. And then go over with white. But I can still see my lines. You may not be able to see my lines, but I can see my lines. So I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just and you know what? If you were really inclined, some people don't paint the white part of the canvas at all. I like to paint the white part of the canvas. I like the way you can tell if you don't paint a canvas because it has a different finish in some areas where there's paint versus where there isn't paint. And so, oops, I like to paint the canvas. But if you want to leave the white part white, you could. It's art, it can't be wrong. And if you see, I dribbled a little bit of white on my canvas there. I'm not going to worry about that right now because again, it is easier to fix, tweak, enhance, whatever it is you need to do when those areas dry. And we have a lot more steps to go to in this painting that I'm not going to worry about those little mistakes. I'm not going to be obsessed with those areas just yet. I'm just going to keep painting what I need to paint. And then if there's still something there that's irking me, we will go back to it. Now I saved his hat for last for 2 reasons. And those reasons are, first of all, even though I'm painting everything white, I want my brush strokes for his beard to go one way, and then I want his brush strokes for his hat to go another way. The second reason is I wanted to give my red as much time as possible to dry up there so I don't end up with pink. Now on this beard down here, I picked up a little bit of blue. That is not going to matter, and you will see why in a little bit. So I'm going to continue to give my red time to dry, and I could get out my hair dryer, my heat gun, whatever, but I'm going to continue to give that red a little bit time to dry. And if you can see, I'm working my way up the beard, not down. So I'll put this little part in here for the hat, and then I'll come gently in here, and there we go. Because I definitely don't want pink. Pink would be the hardest to fix. It can be done, but you have to be very, very patient. Okay, and again, I washed my brush. And there we go. So now I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to pick up some of my blues. And wherever I dripped white that I didn't want, I'm just picking up some blues and my blue gray. It's actually called Skyline. It's one of my favorite colors. And I'm giving it in a little bit of blending. That's why I said I don't worry about those things too much. And we still have our background to add the details to, and you'll see how it'll all come together. Okay, there we go. Okay. So we have everything base coated. Let me turn you guys around for 1 second. We started with our blue and our gray background. Looking very, very, when I look at the picture with all the details and stuff, it doesn't look so patriotic if you're in the US. But now I'm looking at it, does look very, very patriotic. So anyway, have my two blues. And then we went in and we base coated our hat red. I came up with a little bit of a flesh tone for the face. And then we filled in the rest of the beard and the mustache with the white. Okay. So I'm going to get out a little bit now of this yellow ochre. No, I think this yellow ochre. Yeah, this one. So in just a little bit. It's funny how in paint, yellow ochre in deco art and yellow ochre in plaid are very, very different colors. I'm going to paint my star gold, but metallics tend to be a little translucent. So before I will paint and pick up my gold, I will come in here and I will paint my star yellow. First grade art tells us that yellow and blue make green. So as much as you want to skip adding white to your red and getting pink, that's how much that you want to skip combining blue and yellow and getting green if that's not the color that you want. So you want to make sure that your blue is completely dry. Whether you wait patiently or you hit it with a hairdryer. Okay, so now we have my star in there. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to start adding the details, you guys. We want to vintage this up. And I'm going to do that by, okay, going to get some white on my brush and a little bit of this cafe latte, and I'm going to mix it in here. We want more white than this cafe latte because against the white, the cafe latte will really, really be pronounced. And I'm going in here. I'm going to get some white again, my little bit of cafe latte. And I'm going in and I'm just shading up the edges of our snowman, of our Santa. So I always want to have white on my brush, picking up a little bit of this tan, and I'm painting right over what we painted before. And I just want a little bit of shadow on the edge. If it gets too dark, wait for it to dry, and you can come back and fix it with white. I'm differentiating. I can still see my curls and my lines from before. So I'm just going in here and I'm making like the separations in the beard. A little bit of shadow. This one down here. Need more white. I'm going to even come around the side with this one. Can you see that? That's it. And again on this side. And I'm just following my lines. You can't see them, but I can. And I'm just coming in here with a little bit of the tan on the corner of my brush. And I'm blending it in just to the edges. We do the same thing. I'm going to switch brushes though. I'm going to do the same thing for the mustache, but I need a little bit of a smaller brush for that. Again, I'm going to pick up some white, and then just on the corner, get it all blended in there, and I'm going to go back in here, and now I'm going to follow around this part. Again, some white, a little bit on the corner. And this is another reason why I said, don't worry if you mess up. Don't worry if your lines are a little imperfect. It's just the backdrop. We have so many more details and layers to go into that we don't have to worry about those things at the very beginning. Because as your painting, as your design progresses, you will realize that what maybe you thought was a big deal at the beginning is not such a big deal anymore. Okay? Again, some white, some beige, and I'm going to come in here right along the head. Okay. This other big curl in here. And again, if you have too much of the tan going on, you don't like it, you want your Santa to be brighter and whiter, totally up to you. Just go wait for it to dry, have a little patience, and then go right back in and add a little bit of white to the middle. When I think vintage, sometimes I think dirty, old. So that's why we come in here. I'm adding a little bit more white and I want to brighten up this section. We're like dirtying it up a little bit. Okay. If you have areas that you think are like way too dark or they're standing out, just add a little bit more white to them. Okay, again, I'm going to go back up to the head, to the hat part. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm picking up the white, corner in the brown, or the tan, the cafe latte that I have. And I'm just adding in some shading to the hat. White, a little cafe latte. And now my red should be nice and dry, that I don't have to worry about getting pink. Okay. What do you guys think so far? And again, I can see my pencil mark still, but I'm not going to worry about that because I'm going to show you why. This is where it all comes together. I'm going to fix the blue now from his mouth. I think I'm going to need a little bit more of that pink I had. Oops. There we go. You guys, I will squeeze out the last drop of paint. And then a little bit of white. Okay. I always feel such a strong sense of accomplishment when I finish a container of paint. Like wow, I must have painted so much. Look, I'm going to throw out this paint bottle. But yet, I will not waste a drop. Okay, much better, much better. Alrighty then, a little sip of iced coffee. Turn it around a little bit, and we have, so you have a little bit of blue in here. I'm not gonna worry about that. I'm gonna show you guys why right now. Because now we're gonna go in and we're gonna add all the fun details. This is pretty much our base coat. We have our star done, we have our background, we have our hat, our beard, our face, and now we're going to go in and we're going to add all the details. Okay, I need some black. Okay, where's that little brush I had again? So I realized I have to paint in the bushy eyebrow. And it might need 2 coats because my face flesh tone is a little bit wet yet. Actually, I just noticed that this is beard in here. It's a little different, but it is beard. So I'm just gonna paint right over it now. Let that dry a little bit. Okay. All right, let me get a liner brush. I actually busted out a new liner brush now. Okay, when we use our liner brush, we like to use it as a pen, like a pencil or a pen. I want to twirl it in there so it has a nice fine point to it. And now we're going to start doing some outlining. And this is when you're really going to see your design pop. If you don't have a steady hand, you can do little short strokes like this and just have them meet up. You don't have to do one long swoop like I do, like this. Nope, you could come in here and you could do just little tiny short feathery strokes like that. Follow the nose. I'm going to skip this part because since I realized I made a mistake, I'm going to need to let that dry a little bit more. Sometimes, depending on how long the stroke is, I might have to stop talking and concentrate. Oh, I'm loving this new liner brush. I should have busted it out sooner. My goodness, you guys, if you guys saw how many brushes I have, holy moly. So now see, aren't these little like outlines just changing the whole entire look? That's why I say, don't get jammed up about stuff at the beginning that, ooh, I messed up, ooh, I went outside the line. It's not important. Those things at the beginning of your project are not important at all. Once you start adding in the details and doing the shading. All right, I'm going to leave that right there for now because I want to go in there and do a little bit more of the, well, I could do this one. I want to whiten that up a little bit. So let me put this aside. Let me get up my little brush. Pick up some white, and that's much better. There's still a difference between that part of the beard and this curl on the bottom here, but that's okay because we can see it better now. Again, a little bit of the tan. Shade that up right there. Okay. Now let's let that dry. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to do the eye. I'm just painting a little bit. I can see my line. I'm just painting a little bit in of a triangle like that, a laying down triangle. And we're going to let that dry a little bit. And go back to my little brush. Okay. Now I'm going to go back and forth between my white and my blue. And I'm just going to start adding in some different colors. Like dirtying up our painting, making it look a little bit more vintage. Okay? This. All right, then I'm going to pick up some blue on my dirty brush and just add that in here. There we go. And again, on the chisel edge, I'm just following the curls, and I'm going to do it with the blue and the beige. You can do this with the liner brush, or you can do it how I'm doing it, standing up on the chisel edge of a flat brush. I don't like that. And you could go in here and you can add as much or as little of this detail as you want. A little bit more. in here. If you think you got a little too dark like I did, I'm going to go back in here. I just picked up some white now, and I'm just going back in, and I'm adding in some white. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to my liner brush and start finishing in. Oh, you know what I need to do? I need to get out my gold. Oops. Get rid of that. And a little brush. Make sure it's nice and dry. And I'm going to come in here. So you can use gold, you can leave it yellow, you can come in here with some glitter, whatever you want to do. I wanted to gold it up. And then I want to add some little gold dots. And the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to cover the ones that I splashed white on. These are just looking like smaller stars in the sky. They're all different sizes because as you use the brush, you run out of paint, so they automatically get smaller. And I think that's good. And then back to my black liner, and I'm going to do all this. Eyebrow, and now look how we're going to make the eye. We have our triangle there, right? I'm going to have these lines come a little bit past the white part. I'll show you. See how the white is in there? And then we have that come a little bit past. I'm going to get the back of my brush. And I'm going to add in the pupil. And voila, we have our eye. And now I'm just going to outline my star. And a little bit more detail in here. Maybe add a little bit of white to it. Now the only thing I'm missing, I want to come in here. Now this is pretty white in here. And this is beard. So I want to kind of add in here some of the blue and the tan that we had in the rest of our beard. And now that my black outlining is mostly done, I'm just going to come in and brighten it up with a little bit of white. Not too much, just certain areas. You're just toning down the black a little bit. Adding a little bit of highlight to it. And there we go. Alrighty. So, there it is. So cool. My vintage Santa. Love it, love it, love it. Step by step. So, thank you for joining me. I'm Teresa from Teresa's Spot for all things art. If you want more tutorials like this, you can join some of my Zooms. They're always listed in the events on my page. Or you can join my group at Teresa's Spot for Step-by-Step Acrylic Art, where I do one of these each month. All my kits come with a pre-traced design, all the paint you need and the brushes. Or if you're doing an online class with me or a Zoom class with me, you get a tracer, which I did at the beginning, now it's on the floor. You get a tracer and a suggested supply list, and then a step-by-step either live or a video tutorial with me. Most of my tutorials that I've done online are on my YouTube channel. So, thank you everyone. Have a great Saturday. Oh, there we go, mess. Always a mess. Have a great Saturday, and I will see you soon. Thank you.